Hello everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. This is our Engineering Leaders event. If you're going for something else, you're probably at the wrong place. So thanks for coming through. The agenda for tonight, you're going to listen to me for a few minutes, unfortunately. And then from here, we're going to break out into roundtables. There's one table here, two at the back. I'll share again the details after I'm done with the thing. And then afterwards, time for some networking. Feel free to get up and grab some food, drink, whatever you guys want. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, so 2024, 2025 has been a bit of a bumpy road. Show of hands, who has not had a fantastic time leading teams the last year? Thank you, a few at least. All right, so we're still very much dealing with the tough macroeconomic environment, as well as the omnipresent. We always need to do more with less. And then if you're going to throw AI into the mix, we're definitely dialing things up to 11. But it's not all bad. We're all in leadership for the good as well. And all of you know how it feels when we don't have any merge conflicts to deal with. And then, for us, it's been really great. We've had a tech lead that's become like an AI advocacy expert. We've had an intermediate that we've been able to promote to senior because they've been showing true ownership through this. And as well as the team coming from focusing on impact over output. So for all of these reasons, it's still fantastic to be in the engineering space. At OfferZen's, we believe that the craft of leadership deserves the same recognition as the craft of coding, because great teams are only as good as the people that serve them. And this is why we launched the Engineering Leadership Report. We wanted to understand what's really happening within all of your teams, what is it you're struggling with, what it is that you need support, and what's keeping you up at night, except a 3-year-old daughter. So the report tonight's powered by more than 280 tech leaders who took part that shared how it is in their teams. And they shared how they're growing as leaders, how they've been adopting AI, and oh my word, I'm well off track, sorry. How they're growing as leaders, navigating AI adoption, as well as hiring within their teams. And to make the most of tonight, we're going to unpack 42 themes that crept up in the data. Just jokes, only 2. And the 2 is how is AI redefining what greatness means within the teams, and then how leaders are managing the pressure to adopt AI. And then to help guide us through this conversation, we're just going to spotlight a few things that came up within the report. All right, so the first surprise for me was 97% of adoption in teams. Yeah, that was my thought exactly. And then things like legal insecurity weren't the blockers that we thought they were yet. And then AI is impacting hiring, but just not in the ways that we thought that they actually would. It's not replacing devs, because 62% of you are still hiring. Thank you for that. And then, but it is still getting harder and harder to get headcount approval. At the same time, we're definitely seeing there's a bit of a gap forming when it comes to AI between the executive leaders and then the people closer to the work. 55% of you, as you can see there, still believe AI's current abilities are overhyped, and that kind of jumps to 60% for executives, but luckily it falls back down to 48% for tech leads. I guess that's probably why, because they can see what AI can do, but they're also very realistic about the limits that are in place, as well as the learning curve that it takes. Teams slow down when they learn new skills, so it takes them a bit of time to ramp up. Now you might be asking, why does any of this matter? So while adoption is high, the understanding at this point is not. And that kind of ripples through in how we define success, how we measure performance, and even how do we decide what a great job looks like. And this is where we want to start tonight. If AI can write great code, what makes a great developer? Dramatic pause.
You're assuming AI.
It says it does. Okay, and this is a bit of an interesting one. The data is showing a split. 38% says yes, it does change what makes a great developer. 36% says it doesn't. And then the interesting one is the 26% in the middle. I thought this would be a very polarizing topic, so I didn't expect to see 20% in the middle, 26% in the middle, which kind of reminded me about this idea of the tabs versus spaces conversation. So much so that I went to have a look to see if it's still relevant in 2025. I know this is a bit of a tangent, so please forgive me, Alex. And while I was going down this rabbit hole, I came across something called emoji code, where your whole code base is just emojis to solve the tabs versus spaces problem. So that sounds like a ton of fun. Anyway, let's get back. Yeah, so being neutral, I guess they're still deciding. Okay, so if we can't agree on what greatness is, then how do we reward the behavior that we want to see? How do we hire, and then how do we retain people? You indicated that 70% of you are, retention is keeping you up at night, but retention of who if we can't decide, or we can't define what that greatness actually is? And then what is it that we do know? We do know that AI hasn't removed the people, the need for the people, but it does act as like a multiplier. It rewards, but also it does expose some gaps within the teams. So that just means the fundamentals haven't changed, they're just more visible. Now at OfferZen, we think great devs in this age of AI will be a product-minded engineer. So you might be wondering, what's that? So for us, that's someone that cares about just more than the code. It's someone that cares deeply about the problem that they're trying to solve. They're not just in it to ship some random features. Great collaborators, and it's someone that prioritizes impact over perfection. So for me, less programmer, more problem solver. We're almost there. Okay, that brings me to our second theme for the evening. How do you navigate this pressure to adopt AI, and what does it look like depending on where you sit? So as you can see, leaders across the spectrum are feeling the pressure to adopt AI. The managers of managers in this case, the ones translating that strategy into delivery, are the ones that are feeling it the most at this point. And that's probably because they're receiving this pressure from both sides. They're receiving it from executives that want the return on investment, but also they have the team that have to implement all of these things, which are asking the questions, wanting clarity and the space to go and adopt AI. And when we're looking at company sizes, it's that mid-sized companies that are also feeling it the hardest. They're probably sitting with a unique challenge as well. They've got that external influence, shareholders, investors to keep happy, but also they need to keep on experimenting and delivering with the limited resources that they have. And all the while, they want to keep the morale and the quality high, or intact rather. All right, so AI, as all of you probably know by now, it's not just about the tools. It goes a little bit deeper than that. It needs to be more involved than just that. So in summary, we're still figuring this out. Things are changing. We are still building, we're building the ship as we go, and that's kind of okay, I hope. So because leadership isn't just about having all of the answers, it's about creating that environment where critical thinking can actually thrive. So if you walk away with anything tonight, just know you don't need to have it all mapped out just yet, and keep the learning public. Make sure you lead by building, and then, as per the great gift there, like Goku, the AI journey will have many transformations before going Super Saiyan.